we got to go to our community here, and this question or comment comes from a boxing hacker, and he commented this on an interview that we recently posted with Gervonta Davis. You should go ahead for sure. Go to our YouTube channel if you're on YouTube. Make sure you also go to Fight TV and subscribe there for combat sports content. But on our YouTube channel, we Davis talking Leo Santa Cruz and Ryan Garcia. He basically said he had 2 pay-per-view fights set up for this year. We're knowing right now with the pandemic situation, that might not even be possible. But at the time, he thought that that's what was the case. But Boxing Hacker says, took a fight with whack Leo Santa Cruz. So he's talking about Gervonta. He says, I would have rather seen the Lomachenko fight, but the Ryan Garcia fight will be good. What is your take on that? You know, I love comments from fans because they get to pull absolutely no punches. They get to say whatever. And, you know, so we tend to wrap our comments in a certain way. Bam, here it is.
You know, look, what do you want to tell you? I mean, he just said whack Leo Santa Cruz.
Whack Leo Santa Cruz.
I mean, that in itself is ridiculous. That in
itself is pretty whack.
Yeah, it's pretty whack. I mean, I don't even know how you would have liked to have seen him fight Lomachenko. First of all, he's fighting Santa Cruz at 130. Lomachenko is still fighting at 35, and he's fighting Teofimo Lopez for now. Okay? But why would anyone think that Leo Santa Cruz would be in the whack category? I mean, the guy's an excellent fighter, world champion. I mean, I don't even, listen, I don't know why anyone wouldn't even think that he doesn't have the ability to and his power to beat Gervonta Davis. Like, why would this be considered a whack fight when I think that from an odds-on perspective, you're going to see, when BetOnline does put these up, you're going to see a close fight here. And I really do think that going with Gervonta's attitude of wanting to beat the best and being his first pay-per-view, he had to have a very credible, difficult opponent. And I think Leo Santa Cruz is perfect.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. First of all, I agree that Boxing Hacker is insane. Calling Leo Santa Cruz whack. That's whack. That's ridiculous. It sounds like somebody who hasn't really been paying attention to the fight game. Leo Santa Cruz has 1 loss on the career, I believe, and that was a controversial, close loss to Carl Frampton, which he avenged in the fight after that. Leo Santa Cruz has fought good fighters, even though you can't take a shot at him a little bit because the fight with him and Gary Russell should have taken place at some point. But Gary Russell fights like every leap year, so I can't necessarily put anything on anybody who's supposed to fight Gary Russell because he doesn't fight regularly. So that is what it is. I disagree with you, though, Peter, when you talk about it's going to be a good fight. Now, it's a smart fight. It makes sense. And when I say smart, I don't mean he's taking a soft touch. I mean, it's required for Gervonta to fight somebody like Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz has a good name. He has an outstanding record. He's a world champion in multiple weight classes. This is not a bad fight on paper. Like you say, oh, Gervonta fights Leo Santa Cruz. It makes sense. But stylistically, Gervonta is going to smash Leo Santa Cruz if he is in shape, motivated, and there. Stylistically, it's a horrible fight for Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz throws a ton of punches. He's always there to be hit, but he hasn't displayed enough real power at 126, let alone to move up to 130. I think Gervonta has the speed advantage. He has the overall athletic advantage, and I think he has the power advantage. I think he beats Leo Santa Cruz up in a fight that probably ends up being at the top of his highlight reel moving forward when he goes on to fight other people. The only contingency there I see is Gervonta has to be in shape physically and mentally. If he comes in prepared and doesn't have to race to the scale to make weight like he's done for some of these other fights, he beats Leo Santa Cruz like he stole something.
Well, look, I'm going to disagree, obviously. I think that the Gamboa fight, an injured Gamboa, laid a kind of blueprint as to how to make things difficult for Davis. Even Gervonta said himself that it wasn't his best performance. He felt that
He
that
felt the
Gamboa
level of competition is what he said.
Well, he felt Gamboa didn't come to fight, therefore he felt he had to make the fight, which is what he told us. Which, when you have to force the action, it makes it difficult. But let's also take into account when you tear your Achilles tendon in the second round. I mean, it could change the way you fight the rest of the fight. So we've got to give credit to Gamboa on that. Davis didn't look his best. He's had problems making weight. I do think he's one of the most gifted fighters in the world. I do think that he is, capable, has the potential. I think he's still potential unrealized. Yeah, he is 25 years old. He is already a world champion. I think that there's something to be said about experience. There's something to be said about boxing IQ. And I do think that what Davis said is he feels that this fight, if you remember, was going to be like the Pedraza fight. That's what he predicted. Yeah. And I think that Leo Santa Cruz and his team are smart enough to know that that's how Davis is going to approach it, that he's going to come in, look at the pressure, and blow him out. And if Santa Cruz can use his physical attributes and reach and use his boxing IQ and be smart, then I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think, including you.
Yeah, well, you said something about not bringing the fight and how that's an issue for Gervonta. I just don't think that Leo Santa Cruz knows how to fight any other way. I don't think that he has the physical tools to fight any other way. He doesn't have great feet. He does have reach. He does have length. But he doesn't have great feet. I don't see. He's nowhere near the athlete Gamboa is, even at Gamboa's age. And so it's not going to be the same. And the other contingency, which I think is the biggest one, is Gervonta mentally plugged in? Because that's what I said. If Gervonta is plugged in and he's in shape, he blows him out. Now, if I agree with you, he was not in the right, I don't think, mental or physical shape fighting Gamboa. He fought Gamboa, to me, like it was somebody that he considered was way past their prime, older, and whatever, which is why he barely makes weight and blah, 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 blah. I'm concerned about Gervonta really taking the fight game serious during a time period of preparation. I believe he takes it serious when he steps in the ropes, but sometimes that's too late. So if something trips him up against Santa Cruz, I think that's what it is. But Gervonta functioning at his top level and Leo Santa Cruz functioning at his top level, which I have no reason to believe he'll be at anything less, Gervonta knocks him out.
Well, the point I'm making
matters him late.
Look, the point I'm making is that it's going to be a better fight than people think. I mean, that's really, I just said it was going to be closer than people think. And,
I think it's going to be one-sided. If those things are in place, I think it's going to be really one-sided. I just style it, and I really don't even mean that as a shot at Leo Santa Cruz. I feel like Leo Santa Cruz is a very good fighter. I just think stylistically, and for him to be coming up in weight to fight that fight, if they were both fighting at 126 and all the time, and this is just where Gervonta was and different sort of thing, it would be different. But for Leo Santa Cruz to not have demonstrated KO power, devastating KO power at 126, to now be going up to 130 to fight a superior athlete, I don't like it for him.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see
if that fight still happens.
If it still happens,
because here's the thing:
happen. But
listen. Right now, the best fighting that's taking place is on Twitter with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis. So
Ryan Garcia is the undisputed champion of Twitter.
Lomachenko said that Davis was the undisputed champion, or the best champion on Twitter. I'm probably just misquoting him now, but it was something to that effect. Yes. But the point is that this is what I was getting at earlier when I said, do some of these fights fall out, and do we just go to some of these bigger fights because of promoters trying to make up for lost time?
We'll see.